Mr. Singh, if elected president, can you explain to us exactly what you're going to do about global warming? Stephen, I think the better question is, if elected president, what am I going to do about guys not getting laid? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to launch a strategic podcast and give my listeners double, secret, triple access. I'm going to launch a 3-month coaching program that includes NLP because so many other dating coaches don't address what's inside the head. I am going to specifically work on that for my guys, and I'm going to teach them what to say, when to say it, how to do the first date, how to get laid, and how to get more ass than a toilet seat.
Welcome to the Unapologetic Man Podcast, the only podcast that's all about self-improvement, confidence, success, women, and being a man without making any apologies for it.
What is up, gentlemen? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the UMP. I really do appreciate you. And today we are going to talk about how to be a politician with women and how politicians ask themselves questions. When they're asked questions they don't want to answer. Why don't we steal this when it comes to women? Why don't we use this awesome method when girls ask us questions that get us to try to explain ourselves to them? And in this episode, gentlemen, we are going to talk about how to use this method when women are specifically doing what we call frame checks, which is basically checking your frame to see if you are indeed an alpha male or just a beta cuck like all the other dudes that they've dated. This is a really powerful frame control concept, and you guys may know frame control is my all-time favorite part of seduction. In my opinion, the anthology that I've put out on frame control just in this podcast is beyond anything else I've ever seen on the topic. There's some other guys doing some good work on it, but I've dove in so thoroughly into frame control, not only in my 3-month coaching program, but pretty decently on this podcast too. I think it's a really deep dive, and we're going to go even deeper today, talking about how to ask yourself questions. Before I jump into the content, gentlemen, I want to thank you again for subscribing to the Approach Formula. I spoke about it the other day where my boys Nick and Dante are writing an awesome email follow-up sequence to the Approach Formula, which you can grab just by clicking the link in the description below. It teaches you how to approach a woman, what to talk about, how to get her attracted to you, how to yank her phone number, and I believe it even talks about how to text her after the fact to get her attracted to you and to get more dates. Then my boys Nick and Dante wrote an awesome email follow-up sequence that adds even more value and teaches you even more, and it's free. I'm not going to spam you. I'm not going to blow you up with bullshit. I'm going to give you value just like I do in this podcast, so sign up below. The Approach Formula, it's a program that's yours free. All I ask in exchange is your email so that I can send you more information and tell you about my 3-month coaching program and try to get you to come join us, you idiot, because we want to make 2024 the ass-pulling year of your life and make it the best year of your life by pulling any single girl that you want. That's our objective. And today we are going to talk about that frame control concept of asking yourself questions. So how does this work? Exactly as I did in the beginning. Somebody asks you a question such as, "Sir, can you talk about the issue with global warming?" And then you say, the better question is, what am I going to do about Israel and Hamas? What I'm going to do is get them to talk to each other. I'm going to solve the whole problem. Israel and Palestine are going to be holding hands into the sunset because of me, the frickin' champion president. If you would just vote for me, you idiots, and get me elected into office, because I'm going to absolutely crush it. This is what politicians do. And if you listen very carefully, they use frame control reversals. In fact, somebody sent me on Instagram, and forgive me for forgetting your name, brother, but somebody sent me a video of Obama literally using my favorite 4 words in the English language. The real question is. I do this to women all the time when they ask me a question. I say the real question is, and then I ask them a question back. But I also say the better question is, and I ask myself a question that I answer. Now, to preface all this, gentlemen, we don't do it with innocent questions where the girl's just trying to get to know you. She's just trying to understand why you're doing what you're doing, and she's being generally cool. We do this when she challenges you, like, why are you at the nightclub tonight alone? Which I'll get all the time because, yes, sometimes I do go out alone. So if she asks me that, I may turn it around on her and say, the real question is, why are you asking me that? Is it because you're afraid to come out alone? You need your friends to have a social buffer because you're not courageous enough to come out alone? Is that why you're asking me that, Jessica? And I throw it back at her, especially as I said, gentlemen, she challenges me. Or I ask myself a question. She says the same thing. Why are you alone tonight? And I'd say something like, I think the better question is, why didn't I come out with all my friends? It's because they drag me down. All they want to do is go to different places and I never can do what I want to do. Besides, I think it takes a lot of courage to come out alone, and I like to challenge myself. I like to try to grow. So that's why I'm alone tonight. The real question is, why aren't you alone? And I might flip it that way. So you ask yourself questions when you get a question you don't like. For example, she asks you, why are you wearing that ridiculous Hawaiian shirt? You might reply to that with, I think the better question is, why didn't I wear my Speedo where I get all oiled up with olive oil? Because you're right, that would have been a much better look. And the reason I didn't do that is because I didn't want all these girls getting turned on, because every time I wear the Speedo all oiled up in olive oil, girls get a little bit obsessed. I walk out with literally dollar bills stuck into my thong bikini because that shit is so sexy. So you see, boys, they ask you something. If you don't want to answer it, then either turn it back on them with the real question is, or my recent favorite, the better question is, or turn it back on yourself and ask yourself a question. I think the better question is, and just ask yourself a question. She's like, why are you going to Qdoba? You say the better question is, why aren't you going to Qdoba? Or you say, I think the better question is, how many times have I been to Qdoba this month? That would be 36. So yes, I've been there twice a day. I am absolutely obsessed with that place. If that's a deal breaker for you, because yes, I have nuclear farts sometimes due to Qdoba, we should probably part ways right now. So what you're showing her, and this is the basic premise of asking yourself questions as well as frame control, is your reality is the only one you care about. And a guy who has his own reality as the most important thing to him is masculine and therefore attractive. Do you guys know that the reason most people are afraid of rejection is because they're too externally validated? They care too much about other people's frames. Think about somebody who is afraid of rejection, who buys a lot of really nice clothes and a nice car to try to impress people, who brags a lot, who tries to post his successes on the social media channels, who, if he has a good job, tries to brag about it in the first 3 sentences. What is he communicating? He's communicating that he doesn't feel like enough inside himself, so he has to impress others so that they validate him and he is externally validated. Let me try to make you approve of me so that I can feel good about myself. Well, this is the same thing with somebody who buys into other people's questions, especially challenging questions. And I really want you to not misunderstand this. If it's not a challenging question and she's just innocently asking, why do you love Qdoba so much? You love that place. Just be like, dude, it's the bomb. You just answer it. But when she's challenging you, what's happening is she's putting up a frame and you are buying into the frame if indeed you answer it in a way that tries to justify yourself to her. So politicians, especially successful ones, will ask themselves questions because they deem her question is not good enough. So what they're saying on a very subconscious level is, dude, you're asking the wrong question. Such as my example where I'm running for president, I'm in the press conference, and Steven asks me what I'm going to do about global warming. And then I start talking about my seduction program, which is the most effective, the most efficient, the most game-changing seduction program you've ever fucking seen. And that's because I have a strong frame. I believe in me. I believe in my product. I believe in the transformation that guys get in my 3-month coaching program. And damn right, gentlemen, I believe in NLP. Do you think I buy into those haters and those trolls that say, oh, NLP's bullshit, it doesn't work? No, I'm like, dude, you're an idiot. I literally cannot understand how you're saying what you're saying, so I'm not going to even acknowledge you in my existence. This too, gentlemen, is why when people troll me, they hate on me, I am unaffected. I literally think to myself, dude, you have the issue. And I literally ask myself another question. Why is NLP the shit? And I say, well, it's changed my life, changed the lives of thousands of my clients. It's a fucking game changer and it works amazingly well for remapping programs inside your head to become more attractive to women. So if somebody writes me and they're like, dude, you're a fucking idiot, you're a piece of shit. And I get this, guys. I get it all the time as a dating coach. I literally think to myself, dude, you're the one with the problem. So in my head, I'm like, the real question is, why are you coming at me with this hatred? Let's think about this, because you hate yourself. Your life is so shitty that you have to try to attack somebody who's successful. And that's just a testament about you. Or when they come at me with a question or doubt my teachings, I ask myself, why is this the shit? And why was he threatened by it? Well, of course, because he's insecure. Why is it the shit? Because it works. It freaking works. Like I get so much hate about my golden rule of seduction, which is no matter what decision you have with the woman, be it she doesn't text you for a while, she's playing games with you on the date, she's not giving you her sex, always ask yourself the golden rule. What would I do if I were dating 4 girls? Of course, I'm going to get a shit ton of hate about that, but I realize it's from people who don't pull girls, guys who don't know what they're talking about, and guys who are haters. And there's actually a lot of haters that listen to my podcast just to seep themselves in that hate. So if they question me, I'm always like, dude, the real question is, why are you spending time to hate on me? A girl says some mean shit to you, brother, or anybody hates on you, be like, dude, the real question is, why are you so obsessed with me? Why are you so focused on what I'm doing? And or you ask yourself a question. So somebody's like, dude, I can't believe you listen to that podcast. You're trying to get better with women? Dude, what a pussy. I can't believe you're trying to do that, which guys will say to you. Guys are literally judging you for trying to improve yourself, brother. Guys are trying to judge you for trying to get this part of your life fixed. How do you feel about that? Right now, I want to tell you, the listener, there's people hating on you. How do you feel about that? You need to say to yourself, the better question is, why am I trying to learn to improve with women? Why am I trying to boost my confidence? Why am I trying to get this part of my life fixed so I can meet my soulmate? Well, that's the exact reason. So you can meet your soulmate, get to the next level, be that next level dude. So fuck what they think. Be a politician. Ask yourself questions because honestly, brother, the only opinion that matters is yours. That's the filter that you have outside of yourself. In fact, I want you to put 2 filters, 3 filters. Let's do a little NLP exercise together. I want you to imagine that there's a filter going up in front of your face. Now there's another filter and another filter, and you can imagine them like an air filter or a fish tank filter, whatever it is. From now on, anybody says anything, it hits that first filter, gets a little bit reduced, hits the second filter, gets even more reduced, and hits the third filter, and it's just fumes by that point. And you sniff it, and you say, that smells like shit. No, thank you. Because the only opinion that matters is my opinion of myself, and I'm gonna ask myself questions if your question isn't good enough. So let's go through some examples. Somebody's like, why do you like that football team or that soccer team or that hockey team? You ask yourself, I think the better question is, why have I stuck with them over the last 5 years? The reason that is because they have a great coach, they have great players, they've won 2 titles, they're the shit. This is why I stick with them. So they ask a question that's like trying to get you to sell yourself to them. But when you ask yourself the question, now you're just justifying your own reasoning and they don't even really matter. You're not trying to explain yourself to them. You're showing them that your own question is better than theirs is. They ask you the same thing. Why do you like that soccer team? You say the real question is, why don't you like that soccer team? Manchester City, are you kidding me? They have Foden, they have Doku, they have Holland, and they have 3 fucking trophies. That's why they're my favorite football team. And for those of you listening in England, I know you guys get a little pumped about your Premier League teams. I like Man City. If you don't like that, I'm afraid I can't help you with that. I think the better question is, why wouldn't you like Man City? They have all these awesome players. They're dynamic as hell. They have Pep, the best coach in the world. Man City's the fucking shit. That's why it's my favorite team. So if you can't get on board with that, I'm afraid I can't help you. And that's the philosophy, boys. A girl asks you, is this what you say to all the girls? You say the real question is that what you say to all the guys? When a guy approaches you, you question him on how he's approaching you. Is that your MO? Is that how you handle things? So you can either flip it on her, or you say the better question is, why would I approach you in the first place? Well, honestly, it's because you look fun. You're not boring, are you? And you see how she asked me something, I changed the conversation, asked myself a question, and then flipped it on her and said, you're not boring, are you? Because I'm like a politician. I'm willing to flip those tables on people because I know I'm enough. I know I'm enough, gentlemen. A girl asks you, which is going to happen to all you guys when you really get good, how many girls have you talked to tonight? I would say the real question is, how many guys have you talked to tonight? I see you going around, little Miss Casanova, getting all those phone numbers. I know your game. Or I would say the better question is, and this is asking myself the question, boys, the better question is, how many girls have I not talked to tonight? Probably about 30. And my goal is to talk to 560. So I got 30 more to go. Your number 529. So usually girls have to take a ticket because usually there's like a waiting list and stuff. But since I'm getting towards the end of the night, you're 529. Congratulations. And you see how I asked myself a question. Then I rationalize that question to myself. It's almost like she doesn't matter. And then at the same time, I kind of flip it on her and make it like she's the one submitting the application. And the basic premise of this, boys, is this. Your frame is the only frame that matters. Your interpretation of reality is the only one that matters. Your approval of what you do is the only approval that matters. Yeah, you'll take constructive criticism. And if she's cool, you'll have a collaborative vibe with her. You're not going to challenge her. But the second she starts challenging you, asking you why questions, trying to get you to sell yourself to her, that's where you either flip it on her with the awesome statements, the real question is, or the better question is, or you ask yourself a question with those same statements. The real question is, the better question is. And I absolutely love doing this, so steal it from politicians. Donald Trump, think what you want about the guy, has an insanely strong frame because he's not going to answer shit unless he wants to and unless it makes him look better. And what happens? The dude, although he's indicted in like fucking 47 states, keeps winning because he controls the frame. Remember when he was controlling the frame on Hillary and she was getting all like kind of pissed off and he's just sitting there smiling with his smug smile? That's frame control. The person with the stronger frame will win every single time. In fact, this kind of gets me curious. I would love to go through other political races and see who the winner was. I can almost guarantee you, I would bet half my business on it, that every single time it was the person with the stronger frame who only took their own filters as the filters that matter. And if the question is stupid, they answer something else. One last thing about politicians. Did you guys see that President Biden actually had a cheat sheet where it said, walk into the room, shake the guy's hand, turn around and stand at the podium, give speech, walk out the room on the left. Literally, boys, he had a cheat sheet. And though we can make fun of him and talk shit, I more feel sorry for the dude because he's worked his whole fucking life to become the president. And now that he's senile, he finally gets the position and he's just getting all blown out left and right. Well, if he was wise, and I'm assuming that his speech writers and coaches are wise, they just flip the frame. The real question is, why are you so focused on my notes? I want to do a good job. I want to make sure that I hit everything perfectly. You'd write notes too to make yourself excel, wouldn't you? And they flip it on the person. Or he says, you guys are so focused on the notes that I have. There is a war going on in Israel right now between Israel and Hamas. I don't know if you guys noticed that. So I think the better question is, what am I doing to bring those two nations together so we can finally have some peace? Come on, guys. You're focused on the wrong thing. Let's focus on the big picture and focus on world peace. Anyway, Steven, your question now, please. And then if Steven asks another stupid question about Biden being senile, he just changed the subject again. And this is what I want you guys to do with women. When women are being a dick to you, when they're being disagreeable, when they're trying to challenge you or make you, sell yourself to them. Do not do that shit. The only person whose opinion matters is your own. So take that quick little down and dirty NLP process of 3 filters in front of you. Anybody throws something in, like all the hate I get on Instagram and YouTube shorts, I don't even see it by the time it gets to me because it's been through those filters that I have disintegrated the insecurity and stupidity of those people who questioned me or judged me or doubted me. The only opinion that matters is my opinion, and I'm liking what's going on. I approve 100%, and I want you guys to approve of yourselves as well. So take this on board, gentlemen. Ask yourself questions. It's fucking funny to do it live and set because the girls don't even know what's happening. She asks you some question about this, and you start talking about that, and she just buys into it. And then what happens? She gets even more attracted to you. This is really powerful stuff, guys, so use it. Frame control. Oh my God, I love it so much. Hope you got some value out of this episode. I drop podcasts on Mondays and Thursdays. Before you go, click the link in the description below, sign up for the approach formula, bask in the glory of the follow-up sequence that was written by my boys Nick and Dante. You are gonna learn so much if you would just go ahead and grab that free program. The approach formula, click below and grab it right now. I appreciate you listening, and I will see you in the next episode.